Good afternoon. This is Jamie Pieroff with the BNN Newscast. Today, June 23, 1852, we will discuss the ongoing election between Whig General Winfield Scott and Democrat Franklin Pierce. Because of the Free Soil Party, the Whigs are losing their electoral and popular votes, which will in return benefit the Democratic Party. With the current struggle for office, the support for the candidates will vary due to the fugitive slave law and whether or not they support it. Literary pieces held influences such as Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was against the fugitive slave law. Now we will hear from our reporter, Jamal Jackson, interviewing Harriet Beecher Stowe about her controversial book, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Thank you, Jamie. Before we get into anything, please, Harriet, for our viewers out there, tell me a little bit about your book.
Uncle Tom's Cabin is about a slave named Tom. His owner and the owner's family love him, and because of this, he's able to live in his own cabin. Tom's owner, Mr. Shelby, is on the verge of losing his plantation because of debt. Mr. Shelby's wife wants to sell 2 of the slaves to help pay off the debt. They decide to sell Tom and a boy named Harry. Eliza, Harry's mother, takes him and runs away to prevent the loss of her only son. Tom is sold and put on a riverboat. Here he meets Eva, a young white girl. Together, Eva and Tom are able to connect through their Christian religion. The story goes on about Tom and Eva and their experiences in the slave trade. Uncle Tom's Cabin is a moving story about an African-American slave and his journey throughout the peculiar institution.
So, does the storyline express your true views on slavery?
It expresses in part my views on slavery. Slavery rips families apart. We saw that through Eliza and Harry. The only way Eliza could protect her son and her family was to run away with him. The slave trade system does not take into account the bonds made and the families created. It does not think twice before separating a mother and a son, or a father and a daughter.
So do you believe your book gives a good representation of the life of a slave on a plantation in the South?
I do believe it serves as a good representation. It may even depict the life of a slave a little bit better than it actually is. In Uncle Tom's Cabin, Tom's owners liked him. They treated him well and promised to buy him back as soon as they could afford to. While some slave owners do treat their slaves this way, many do not. On large plantations, slaves are often beaten and whipped. One person might be physically battered in order to set an example for the rest of the slaves.
What prompted you to publish this book, knowing that it would cause an uproar in the South?
I've been a supporter of the abolitionist movement for some time now. I wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin to show the public that slavery is immoral and evil. I wanted everyone to see that the slave trade, and how it affects families. One of the sub-themes in my book has to do with religion as well. The story discusses the forgiving nature of the Christian religion, the idea that Christianity can overcome the enslavement of our fellow human beings. I want to make a change in literature across America, to publish a book that shows slavery for what it really is.
So what effect did you hope this novel would have on your audience?
In writing this, I hope to make people realize that slavery is not something our country should continue with. I wanted American citizens to realize that slaves are people, just like you and me. I want to make a difference now so our future generations will not have to go through this. Within my novel, I want people to realize how powerful God is and how much faith can do for you. American citizens need to stand up and make a change now, and I hope that in reading this novel, they can see that things need to change.
And let us hope that we can come to that conclusion. Thank you for being here today, Harriet.
It was my pleasure.
Harriet's best-selling novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, is available at any bookstore. And now over to you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamal. And now we will hear from our commentator, Tyler Streck, about Harriet Stowe's influential book.
Thank you, Jamie. Only 5,000 copies of the first edition were originally printed, and they were sold within just 2 days. With the year almost up, 300,000 copies have been sold in America alone. In England, 200,000 copies were sold. The book is also currently being translated into numerous languages and is also being adapted to theater with many different versions. So looking at Uncle Tom's Cabin, there are definitely mixed feelings. Liberal abolitionists, for example, don't think it is enough to end slavery quickly enough, and the development of Tom's character wasn't forceful enough. Pro-slavery forces are outraged and declare the work to be criminal, slanderous, and utterly false, arguing that the book is too one-sided, and that Tom's character was too noble, also arguing slavery is sanctioned in the Bible. Now, Southerners are so outraged that they actually closed a bookstore in Mobile, Alabama, and forced a bookseller out of town for selling copies. It is only the moderate anti-slavers who are praising this book for its considered accurate display of family life and enslaved mothers, bringing in a large amount of sympathy towards slaves. As you can realize, Stowe is a star. Queen Victoria actually wished to meet her, where it was reported they passed each other's carriages to nod, as Stowe did not want to be seen with such a controversial figure. The book also mainly affected those who are most indifferent in political standpoints, so far creating an outlook for a win for the Democrats, as the Whigs are being considered too apathetic to the slavery issue, favoring business and the national market instead, which many Americans aren't caring about. The Democratic candidate, Northern Franklin Pierce, has been said to have Southern sympathies and is therefore hoping he can settle slavery peacefully once and for all with an understanding of both sides' ideals. Now, outside of the political spectrum, Stowe's book is so influential and controversial that she has been receiving threatening letters and recently a package containing the dismembered ear of an African American. Southerners have also reacted by writing their own novels depicting the happy lives of slaves and often contrasting them with miserable existences of Northern white workers, wage slaves, attacking Northern industry again, reviving the ancient epidemic. Stowe is also in the process of writing The Key to Uncle Tom's Cabin, an annotated bibliography of her sources for her critics that have been attacking her book as having serious flaws. Thank you, Jamie. Back to you.
Time goes on. Are the days for the Whig Party numbered? Will their party last? Only time will tell. Stay tuned for more news updates and information tonight at 10 o'clock. This is Jamie Piroff with a BNN newscast, and I'm signing off. Have a good afternoon.